What's going on, guys? Welcome back to this video. Today we're doing Dreaming from TryHackMe, and it is a recent room that has been released and revolves around Linux privileged escalation. So it's a typical boot to root challenge. So let's go ahead and start. The first thing we're gonna start, as you can see, with the nmap scan. And nmap scan reveals two open ports, 22 for SSH, and we have 80 for the web server. Now, typically, this kind of challenge, there is no pre-given credentials for the SSH server, so we're going to start with the web page. So if we start with the web page, that's what we find when we navigate to the page. Basically, it is, so not this one. I just forgot to do it. So when you first navigate, you will find this page. Hopefully it's still working. Okay, so the machine is kind of it is slow. I don't know why, what they did to the machine, but anyway, so that's what you see first when you open the web page. Now this is the basic Apache 2 default web page, and we learned from previous CTF challenges and even in realistic pen testing scenarios, when we don't have much clue about the basic landing page, we want to turn the heads to discovering web directories or the hidden directories. For that reason, we use directory enumeration tools. So GoBuster is one of the directory enumeration tools that is used to reveal hidden directories or even directories that's hosted on the server, but they are not yet cleared here through navigation. So we discover them using GoBuster or directory enumeration. So this is the IP address, and this is the word list that I used, command.txt. The output reveals a directory /app. So when we go to that directory, we get redirected to that path. So the path reveals, as you can see, the app directory along with the technology used on the web server, which is Pluck CMS, along with the version. So it's flat out given to you guys what you need to do in this scenario. The version is given, the technology of the software is given, so you have to search for an exploit. And don't get tricked by the file parameter here. You might be saying that, oh well, this could be a file inclusion opportunity. You might try it, but it's not going to work. This is not the intended path of this machine. So we go ahead and start the exploitation process. The exploitation process starts always with searching for an exploit. So we write search exploit, one of the tools used to discover exploits, and the name of the technology we discovered, which is Pluck CMS. We see a list of all of the available exploits for various versions. What we want the exploit that matches the current version. We go back, the version is 4.7.13. So as you can see, we have 4.7.13, and it is file upload remote code execution, but it is authenticated, which means in order for exploit to work, we have to log in as any user to the control panel. Now, preferably the user should be admin. It's preferable in general, it's preferable for the user to be admin in all instances of authenticated exploits, but sometimes some exploits may work with regular user credentials. It means even if you don't have admin access to the Pluck control panel, just having a regular user may work. So how to log into the administration panel? We click on the admin here, link hyperlink, and we are navigated to this page. Now before you see this interface, you're gonna first be asked to log in. So the login password is pretty much easy. It is admin as a username and password as the password. As you can see, the machine is slow. I just want to show you guys the login process. Anyway, it's straightforward. Just use password as the password and you will log in. Okay, so right now the exploit is ready to run. So what we do, we have a copy of the exploit to my machine using this command, search exploit -m, to copy the exploit to the directory, and then we have a look at the exploit. So as you can see, guys, This is the description: a file upload restriction bypass vulnerability in Pluck CMS before 4.7.13 allows an admin. So this means that if you somehow managed to get access to Pluck control panel with the version 4.7.13, okay, but as a regular user, the exploit won't work. You have to be an admin to gain access in the host through the managed files functionality, which may result in remote code execution. So basically, the exploit will automate the process of uploading a shell and give you the access to execute system commands. What you need to do, you need to provide these parameters as arguments. As you can see, it's pretty much clear from here. These needs to be arguments supplied by the user input: the IP address, the port, the password, and the path. Okay, so we start the exploitation process with the correct command. So Python, the exploit name, the IP address is provided by us, the port is provided by us, and this is the password. This is the password to log into the administration panel, should be supplied by the user input. Oh, okay, so here, as you can see, we use password and we log in. And lastly, we give the path. The path is the path to the Pluck CMS. We take it from the URL I showed you here. And if the exploit is successful, it will show you that the shell has been uploaded to this path. Now you can go to this path and trigger the shell. It's a simple web shell. That's what you get. This is the web shell, and that's where you execute system commands. So immediately the web shell is pretty much good, but we need to have a stable reverse shell so we have the complete freedom over what we do on the machine without any kind of interruptions. So we use bash or netcut reverse shell. So basically, here in the notes file, let me search for rm. This is one netcut shell one-liner. So we copy that. Before we copy that, we change the parameters. The two most important parameters are the IP address. This should be the IP address of your machine, and this is the port that you will use in the listener. So you copy that and we paste it here. So before we paste it, we make sure that there is a listener running. So listener was running on port 4545. We execute this, and now we get the foothold, the first shell access. Alright, so we need to stabilize the shell. So we use Python TTY so that we have a stable shell. And the next thing we do, we want to find out where we are. So we are at, as you can see, this directory, and the ID of the user is data. So you want to move to a higher privilege user. That's why we have to take a look at what are the users who have home directories. So we cd to home, and we see that we have 3 users: Death, Lucien, and Morpheus. So it's pretty much clear that you cannot cd or to read any file in any of these directories because you are the data user, and there are no permissions for you or for the observer user to view these files. So what we do, we start the first process of horizontal privileged escalation, which is moving from a user with lower privilege, in this case it is data, into a user with higher privilege, not necessarily a root user, meaning we want to move to one of these users. So we start with the user Lucien. So why Lucien? So basically, if you go to cd/opt, which contains all of the user installed software, that's why we choose to enumerate the /opt directory during privilege escalation engagements. So we see we have 2 Python scripts. One is get dreams, pretty much clear we cannot view this, and we have test.py. So these are the permissions. So we try to view the contents of get dreams, and the dreams Python script is pretty much handling a MySQL connection, judging by the parameters here. So it's importing MySQL library, and these are the connection parameters, but the password for the death user is redacted. So we move on to test the Python script named test, And we can see here from the test that there is a hidden or revealed, a password in plain text. It's pretty much, this is the password for the user Lucien. That's why we choose to log in to Lucien. So next we log into Lucien with this is the password for Lucien. So we log in with this command, su Lucien, and we provide the password. As you can see now, we escalated the privileges into user Lucien, and we find the flag for the user Lucien. Next thing, we want to move from Lucien into a higher privilege user. So we issue the command sudo-l. Sudo-l is pretty much commonly used command in privilege escalation engagements to find out what are the current privileges of the user. In our case, it is Lucien. So say that Lucien is able to run this command, Python 3, on the script get dreams as the user death without the need to provide a password. So we execute this. Hopefully it will get us something, but it does nothing. As you can see, it just has these statements: Alice flying in the skyline, Bob exploring ancient ruins, Carol becoming a successful entrepreneur, Dave becoming a professional musician. So when we execute this as sudo death, that's what we get. So what do we do now? We go back to this script, see what it does. So get dreams, it is a Python script to perform some operations on the MySQL server. So why shouldn't we log into the MySQL server and find out what is going on, right? So how to log into the MySQL server? We have to have a password. So in order to log into MySQL server, we head to the bash history of the user Lucien. Why? Because the MySQL server is protected by a password, with a password. So we need a password to log in. Passwords are revealed in configuration files, and in addition to configuration files, we look in the bash history. So bash history is a place where you look for plain text passwords or secrets. So we read the bash history of the user Lucien because this is the user we have got access to, and we see that there is a very weird command in the history file: mysql-u Lucien, and this is the password. So that's the password to log into the MySQL server as user Lucien. So we go ahead and log in with this command. We specify the user Lucien and the password. Technically, to make this work seamlessly, copy this command and directly paste it into the terminal, and you will log into the MySQL server, and you can verify that by the prompt. So what we're going to do here, when we log into the MySQL server, we will start the process of MySQL enumeration. So first we show the databases. As you can see, we have kind of one unique database named library. So we select this database to interact with it, and we choose to show the tables stored in this database. We have one table. To reveal the entries of this table, we use this statement or command select asterisk, meaning we want to select all records from the table dreams, and we can see the table has two columns, dreamer and dream, and the dreamer column has these values and dream has these values. So that explains the output of the script we saw earlier. So it's pretty much echoing or outputting the value under dreamer concatenated with plus with the value under the dream column. Okay, that's what the script does. So one of the methods to exploit or take advantage of MySQL servers is to let this SQL server execute system commands for you. Okay. Now here the scenario helps doing that very obviously, because if you go up and again we review the output of the script, we can see that the script let's see. Yeah, the script pretty much flat out sends whatever records stored in the columns into the command, into the output. So if we store let's say a command, Linux command, in one of the columns, it will get executed instead of being outputted as a clear text. So what we do here, scrolling down, right, so we insert, as you can see here, we use insert into dreams. So this inserts values into the columns. So we have two columns, dreamer and dream. Now what we do here, we use insert into to insert values into the table dreams. Specifically, we choose dreamer and dream as the columns. And then we use values to indicate that we want to store the values. Injection goes into dreamer and bean bash goes into dream. And that's what we get. Now, the next thing, we know that Lucien can run the Python script as sudo. So now if you execute the Python script as user death, what's going to happen? We're going to have shell as the death user, as you can see here. So now we move on to the user death. Okay. So in the user death, okay, as you can see, guys, I have some problems with this machine because of the connection. That's why I have a lot of things going on in the command line. All right, so when we are the user death, we can now view the contents of the script get dreams that's under home/death, and we see now the password that was redacted before when we were the user Lucien. Now we can view the password because we are the user death and we have permissions. So dppass, this is the password for the user death. So immediately now log into the user death using this password, sudeath, to have a more stable shell. And now this is the password of the user death. And now we escalate the privileges again from Lucien into death. So from data into Lucien and now into death. Now the last user we want to escalate the privileges into is the Morpheus user. That's the user of the highest privilege. So how to escalate the privileges? First, we take a look at the contents of the directory belonging to that user. And we see there is a script named restore. It's a Python script. If we take a look at the Python script, this is the contents of the Python script. So it uses shuttle library from Python, imports the library to use the backup, and defines the source and destination for the backup process to start. Now, we don't have access to any of these directories. So what we do, if we remember, guys, from our previous videos, we did many videos on escalating the privileges using Python libraries. So what we're going to do here, if we modify the contents of this library, okay, or the library file stored in Python, we will be able to alter its behavior. So instead of importing the copy to and performing the backup, when restore.py, when this script is executed, it's going to execute first the shuttle or the library file of shuttle. If we modify this content, we'll be able to control the behavior of restore. Okay, so restore is a Python script that is executed by the user Morpheus. So if we let that Python script execute again as user Morpheus, but with the modified behavior we selected by modifying the contents of the shuttle script, we will get the shell as the user Morpheus. Now, how to modify the contents of shuttle? We have first to find where it is. Normally, all of the Python library files are found under the Python directory, which is user library Python 3.8. As you can see, I verified this by using this command to list the contents of the Python installation and grepping shuttle. Now, in order to modify shuttle, we have to have permissions. So the designer of the machine on purpose gave you group permissions on this Python script. You are the user death and you belong to group death, and the group death has access to this script. What are the kind of access? It is read and write. It means we can modify on the script. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna just modify its contents. Instead of executing the intended function of this library, we're going to execute a Python reverse shell. So we search for a Python reverse shell in my notes file, and as you can see, we have many options. So any one of them would work. So what we're going to do in the next step, as you can see, I battled enough with this script to work, but at the end, what you have to do here, very simple process. First, you have to null the contents of the script. How to null the contents? Basically, you have to remove its content. How to do that? Just echo an empty content. So let's see where the command is. Yeah, so here we use echo. So here, in between the double quotes, we put nothing. And then when we send the output to the script. So now if we view the contents of the script, we have nothing in the script. Okay. Next, we import or we echo the Python reverse shell. Okay. Make sure to replace the parameters again and send them to the script. So this script is run as a cron job, pretty much obvious. Now, if you open a listener on port 546, you will be able to receive the last shell. When you receive the last shell, you will have the last flag, and I'm going to leave this last step to you guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed this walkthrough, and pretty much obvious. I'm going to see you in the next video.